Regular viewers will know that I love a bargain. And when I'm going through the offers every day, looking at the special deals, there's one car that keeps winking at me saying, look at me, look at me. And it's this, the Vauxhall Astra Sport Tourer. The monthly lease deals on this are cheaper than on some rival city cars. Now, to see if cheap makes me cheerful, Vauxhall have sent me one to try for a few months. Now, there are some members of the team who aren't quite as convinced with my bargain. But please like and subscribe because that does make Ginny happy. Now, I know you're not convinced, but I think this is a fascinating car because it's such good value.
Now, I would like to point out that actually, if you look at the first drive review of this car, which is right here on our YouTube channel, we actually do say that it's quite an expensive car. And if I recall rightly, that was presented by you, Tom Barnard.
Well, yes, but in my defence, when this was launched, Vauxhall priced it at £46,000 for this top-spec version. They've since seen the light, or perhaps seen my review, and have cut the price to £39,840, as long as you don't want metallic paint.
Okay, I still think, even at that price, it seems a lot for this. You know, I'm thinking about cars like the Kia EV3, the new Skoda Enyaq, for example. Oh, okay.
Christmas
Another
party fund.
£1 for the Enyaq swear jar. But you know, I don't know, convince me. I'm not convinced.
It's all about the monthlies, Ginny, all
Okay.
about the monthlies. Okay, well, first of all, the deals. I've seen this car for as low as £220 per month, and that's with kind of reasonable miles and deposit. And then there's the efficiency. Because the car's roof is lower than on all those SUVs everybody loves, it's more aerodynamic and has a smaller battery, just 51 kilowatt hours. That means it's lighter, and as a result I'm usually getting 250 miles or more on a charge. Now, electricity on an overnight tariff is pretty cheap, but I've noticed a real difference in my bills compared to more thirsty cars. It's even more noticeable when you're public charging and have to pay more for every kilowatt.
Does it make you cheerful sitting here, Tom?
Well, I'm comfortable.
That's not what I asked. Does it make you feel cheerful? It's too black, isn't it?
It is a bit.
There is a lot of... It's quite dark and oppressive in here, is a thing I've always felt. It's what, sorry?
Even with the summer.
Even
can you imagine it without?
Even with, no, I can't. Because there's all the black in the headliner. And I think if you are going to choose this car, if you can, opt for a slightly more cheerful interior, because it does feel a bit oppressive.
Yeah, and there's lots of different textures, aren't there? There's this plastic, there's the Alcantara there, and there's a different one there.
I'm just going to show you something on this seat. Can you see? Look, there's dirty bits on that seat. Can you see them? This car came from Tom with dirty bits on the seat. He is the cleanest person I know when it comes to car. I can't possibly comment for his personal habits, but
Alcantara's tricky.
it's tricky. This car generally looks dirty all the time. The piano black is a dust magnet. Dust magnet.
And
Fingerprints.
Look, there's crumbs in there already. And yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got these roller... Oh, look at the state of it in there. These roller shutter things as well don't bring me joy. And also, this one here... You put your phone in there, it obviously has that same thing that every single charging pad has, where you have to get it with such precision before it will charge.
Yeah.
And then once you've got it there, you forget about it, and then you get out of your car, because it's like hidden in the depths, isn't it? You forget your phone all the time.
No, it's just because you're getting old.
Oh,
on the plus point, it's got a 12-volt port, which I know makes you really happy.
Makes me happy.
It does make him happy. I think the other thing I've got to point out is the infotainment system. It's quite complicated for something that is relatively simple. It's really hard to navigate around. Yes, there are some buttons which are really nice. It's a very laggy system.
Yeah.
In fact, the car generally just is a bit on a go slow. You turn it on, it
does feel kind of 5 years old, doesn't it?
It really does. I think if I was to sum up the interior, and particularly the infotainment system, is that it feels like an analogue car in a digital world. It's just...
I also tried to log on to the app, and I get in there, and but it doesn't really do anything. I gave up.
Okay.
And that makes me sad, because I like apps and cars.
Okay. But on the positives, it does have switches and buttons.
Yes.
Everything works, even though you might have to wait a while for it. And there's loads of room, unless you want to sit in the middle in the back seat, because then you've got the transmission tunnel, which isn't helpful.
shout out to the seats. So these are AGR approved.
What's the AGR?
Well,
what is that?
It's some German association for backs, and the seats are very comfy. Don't you think? Oh, I'm quite fussy about my seats.
Clutching at straws, I think.
Well, the other interesting thing, and hear me out on this. So it's electric seats because it's the ultimate version, yeah. But they're only electric, like up and down, and doing the recline.
I know you've got to go forward and
you've got to do that. But I like that because if you swap cars regularly, like we do, and there's somebody who's of smaller proportions driving, and you're up like this, I can't get into it. So unlike one of the other cars, like the Bourne that we've swapped, yeah, you have to go while you wait for the seat to go back. On this, done, seconds. So I prefer the manual seat bit there and the electric bits for when you're driving there.
What did I say? It's an analog car in a digital world.
Now, the back of this car gets really filthy. I think it's something to do with the aerodynamics, but there's a clever little gadget to help you see out of the camera. Watch. When you twist this and do the rear wiper, it also gives the camera a little squirt.
This video is brought to you with Andersen EV, the UK's most awarded home charge point brand of 2024, offering over 200 colour and finish options, a market-leading 7-year warranty and a unique hidden tethered cable.
I quite like driving the Astra. It's strange to say it, but it's a bit different because it's not an SUV. This is a lower down car, and that means you don't get that nice raised driving position that everybody seems to like, but it feels a little sportier. You're a little lower to the ground, and I quite like that. The other advantage of that, of course, is that it has less wind resistance because it's lower, and that means it's really efficient. Now, Ginny's been driving it and she has feet made of lead, so she's not the most efficient driver. But when I get in this car, even in winter, it shows kind of 250 miles range. Now, that doesn't sound exceptional until you remember that it's got a 51 kilowatt hour battery. And that's quite small for a car of this size. Most cars are like 77 or something. So 250 is pretty good. And that means when you're charging it up, it's cheaper. So it charges up overnight and you get a full charge rather than just getting a nearly full charge. So it's going further for less. And that's especially important if you're out and about and you're fast charging, where the electricity is much more expensive. Now, because it's got that small battery, it's also got the motor, which is shared with all sorts of other Stellantis cars, including things like the Corsa. Now, this is a much bigger car, so if you've got 5 people and a load on board, then it's not going to feel the fastest, but it's never inadequate. It's perfectly fine. I've no problem with this. I've never thought I need a lot more power than this has. So perhaps this is kind of a case of right sizing, a right size battery and a right size motor. You don't need any more than this in the real world. It goes around corners pretty well as well. It's not a car you're going to go out and drive on a Sunday morning just for the fun of it, but it's certainly not bad. And refinement, yeah, it's fine. There's not a lot of wind noise. The ride, well, it's generally pretty good, but on these wheels, which are on the ultimate version, it does have this habit of crashing through potholes. So you go bang into a pothole and you think you've done all sorts of damage because it sounds like you've had an accident, but actually it just seems to be some problem with the really bad harshness on those particularly big holes in the road. Now, we don't need it on a day like today, but I have to give a shout out to the headlights as well. And Vauxhall have had some pretty good headlights lingering in their options list for a while, and they're really very clever. They're those ones which do a projector beam thing and then put a little shadow if there's a car coming so you don't dazzle them. And they really are very good. The only thing I will say is, you know those automatic main beams? It has those, but I can't work out how to turn it on and off. And somehow it just seems to randomly turn itself off. And I want it back, and it's not there. Now, I've even gone to the extremes of reading the manual, which, as any bloke out there will know, is kind of against our religion. But I can't find how to work it. It must be a button here somewhere, but I don't know how it works. Some days it comes on, sometimes it doesn't. Now, we've already talked about the technology a bit, but I have to do a non-shout out. What's the opposite of a shout out? For the voice activation, because voice activation, okay, it's a bit of a first world problem if it doesn't work properly, but it is starting to get really good on some cars, and it means you don't have to play around with buttons. On this car, well, it's not quite so effective, and it does random things. So let's see if... Hey Vauxhall, turn on the heated seat. Nothing at all. Hey Vauxhall, oh, online subscription has expired. Please renew your subscription. Genius. I think there is quite a lot on this car, including the app where you have to pay and subscribe online and give them all your details before it will work. I'm driving this car for the first time after Ginny's had it for a week or so, and it seems very familiar. It's like, you know, putting on a pair of comfy slippers or jogging pants. Now, Ginny wouldn't wear those out in public, but I probably would. And that's the difference between us. She wants something that's a bit more exciting and a bit more stylish, whereas I'm happy to be just comfortable and have something which is adequate for most of the time. Now, it sounds like damning with faint praise, but you know, I think it's fine. There are cars that have better technology or are faster. And there are some that are more efficient, but I think it's not a bad package, especially at the prices we're talking. So Ginny, have I convinced you?
There is one thing about this car that I am convinced about. Let's take a look at this. Ta-da!
Ginny, it looks like a charity shop in there. You've had this for a couple of days and already it's full of rubbish.
I took it out of the Cupra and put it into here when we swapped cars. This is the stuff that I'd always have in my car, ready for the tip or the charity shop. And I know all of you do that as well. Come on, let us know in the comments below what kind of things you keep in the boot of your car. But look, there is loads of room for my charity shop runs in the back of this car, and I think that is the beauty of this. It's a car for a very specific purpose. If you are looking for an affordable, practical electric car with a lot of space, then this is the car for you. And I don't doubt that actually the kind of prices that you're talking about, it does make sense for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, this or a Super Mini, if you need the space, this is going to seem like a luxury, having a bigger boot and that space for your kids in the back.
Yeah. Just going back to what you said at the top though, cheap and cheerful. It doesn't really make me cheerful.
No, well, I think that having a bigger car that's a bargain price makes me quite happy.
But you're a bit cheap.
I like a bargain.